Good morning, everyone. Before starting my speech, I'll give you the name of some characters that you may or may not know. I'll mention Captain Hook from the movie Peter Pan, also Jack Sparrow from Pirates of the Caribbean, and I'll mention Blackbeard, also known as Edward Teach. And my speech starts now. Good morning, everyone. Halloween is just around the corner, and on this occasion you might be tempted to dress up for a party or go with your kid on a candy hunt. If you're a girl, you might be inclined to go with the typical witch costume, complete with a broomstick or a pointed hat. As for the boys, dressing up as a skeleton or a vampire might make things easier. But in both cases, there is one perfect costume for you: the pirate. These barbaric figures with wooden legs, eye patches, and hooks instead of hands were, above all, skilled sailors and strong, independent individuals who decided to defy the institution and norms of their time. Pirates first appeared at the end of the 1st century BC in the Mediterranean, and later in the 80th century in the Caribbean and the Indian Ocean. They remained a threat to sailors crossing the seas and ocean until the end of the 80th century. Their emergence in antiquity was due to the law of the strongest, which governed rights on the seas and oceans. Their downfall, on the other hand, was caused by the rise of nations and their naval fleets. For nearly 20 centuries, these men plundered and sank numerous ships, particularly Spanish ones. Indeed, starting in the early 16th century, Spain began its expansion into South America, bringing with it the shipment of riches discovered there back to Europe. An endless stream of ships filled with gold, diamonds, and silver created a connection between the two continents, and pirates delighted in raiding these vessels. You might have noticed that through my speech, I've used this term pirates to refer to these sea bandits and plunderers. But did you know that there were other called privateers? The difference between the two is very simple. A privateer is a pirate who received authorization from a government to attack enemy ships. The king would issue a letter of marque to the pirate, temporarily making him work in service of his majesty. It was a mutually beneficial collaboration, as the king could discreetly attack his enemy, while the privateers kept a portion of the loot and were protected by the crown for the duration of the contract. Once the contract was fulfilled, these privateers would return to being a free pirate, able to plunder at will. We all have in mind the image of a famous pirate from an animated film, a fairy tale, a movie, or, for the more cultured among us, history books. For example, Captain Hook from the movie Peter Pan is the archetype of how pirates are portrayed in popular culture. A big head with a feather, a hook instead of a hand, a sharp sword, and a ship decorated with skulls everywhere. Of course, we must also mention the famous Jack Sparrow from the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. His laid-back style, nonchalance, and obsession with rum left a mark on an entire generation. By the way, did you know that originally pirates didn't raid ships for their riches, but rather for the provisions on board, and specifically for the rum? Finally, we can't forget the most famous pirate in history, Blackbeard. His real name was Edward Teach, and this British pirate created terror for 2 years, from 1716 to 1718. Initially a privateer for the English crown, he formed his own crew and acquired his own ship to raid vessels in the Caribbean. Eventually, he found himself cornered by the Royal Navy and was killed, taking with him the secret of his treasure's location. The representation of pirates in our society is full of cliches, but it's not a bad thing if the extraordinary adventures of these sea wolves continue to make us dream and fantasize. So this year for Halloween, pay tribute to all these sea bandits by dressing up as Blackbeard or Jack Sparrow, and just like them, enjoy a few glasses of rum. Thank you.